Let's welcome in our morning guest. T.S. Harihar is now with us. S.V. Prasad is also with me, and Ruchit Jain from Angel Broking joins us. We'll be soon joined by Imtiaz Qureshi as well. Harihar, let me start with you. What are your picks for the day?
In tune to the market trends, we have got one long pick and two short picks. On the long side, we are having a buy on Tata Motors, which we see as a very de-risked play on the global auto sector, because if you look at the JLR numbers month on month, I think it has been extremely flattering. So we have a buy on Tata Motors from a 2-month perspective, and we target the stock to touch about 520 in a couple of months. On the short side, we have two stocks. The first, of course, is ICICI Bank, where we already short, and we're actually furthering our short target now down to close to about 210, 215, probably in a couple of months' time. The other bank is already in the news for all the wrong reasons, which is Axis, and it has corrected from about 640 to 436. But we believe that there could be further downsides in the stock as the market comes under pressure. So we have a target of about 390 on Axis Bank over the next couple of months.
SV, every time you were complaining about valuations and it's very difficult for you to pick up stocks. Now, after recent correction, any names that you like?
No, I mentioned last time also I mentioned Mahindra and Mahindra. I like Tata Motors as well. But I think one caveat that we all need to have, Pankaj, is that even the Q2 numbers for 2,600 odd companies, excluding the banks and the OMCs, the profit growth has been only about, I think, 3.5% or thereabouts. And mind you, this is Q2, and Q3 is going to be a lot more painful because the effect of demonetization is going to, pan out. So the earning numbers, I think, is going to be a lot more negative than what the market expects as far as December quarter is concerned. And there could be some effect on the PE ratios as well arising out of that. Therefore, I mean, while clearly tops and bottoms of a fools, as the cliche goes, but clearly I expect the markets to gradually kind of go further down. The only thing that in many ways is keeping the market steady is the domestic investors have good money, still SIP is happening, etc. So that's the only kind of silver lining. Therefore, what I would always tell people is that yes, this is a great time to pick quality stocks, but pick in small lots. There's no point in, and again, I like HDFC Bank with vis-a-vis other banks and vis-a-vis HDFC Limited as well. So these are the two names which I would like to mention, but again, with the caveat that I definitely see a lot more roughness happening in the market. The Trump factor is still playing out as far as US dollar is concerned. Oil prices are going up. So given all that, at least in terms of FIs coming in droves into the Indian market looks mostly unlikely in the near term. And even if you see the year-end numbers, it's like last year. I mean, the domestic institutions have bought more than FIs on a net basis for the whole financial year as on date. And I don't see things changing in this last week. So that, in some sense, sends a signal. It's good that domestic institutions have money. But again, I'm sure they're also sitting on a fair bit of cash and picking up as the values go down.
Ruchit, what are your technical calls for the day?
Mostly all from the mid-cap front. First call is a buy call in Balrampur Chini. We have seen that on Friday, the entire sugar sector gave a good positive momentum, and the upmove was supported by very higher volumes. So we are expecting the short-term trend to be positive in the sugar sector. Balrampur Chini has been consolidating since last couple of months, and the price volume action of Friday indicates that the stock might give a breakout and move higher from current levels. So one can go long around current levels, keeping a stop loss below 115. For target around 131. My second call is a buy call in Shriram Transport Finance. The stock has seen a significant correction in last couple of months. Now the prices are forming a positive divergence with the RSI, and hence we are expecting a pullback move in the stock. Don't have very aggressive targets on the higher side, but around current levels one can go long with stop loss below 779 for target around 858. And my last call would be sell call in Apollo Hospitals. The stock has recently formed low top, low bottom formation. Prices have given a firm closing below its previous support zone on the weekly charts as well. So some correction, extension of some correction could be seen in short term. So from 1 week's perspective, one can go short in Apollo Hospital, keeping a stop loss above 1162 for target of 1078.
Right. One stock that was in focus on Friday and expected to be in focus today is Divi's Lab. So just, retracing what happened, 22.2% decline. That was the sort of decline that you saw on Friday. Of course, this is the adjusted close. I think it was down about 24% at a point of time. Delivery mark, 50 lakh shares. It's not even like 2 lakhs on an average basis. So there was a lot of selling over there. Change in open interest, 29% higher, or about 2 lakh shares which were added to the open interest. So there was some shorting activity into this name as well. What happened was that the US FDA Form 483 for their Vizag plant was made public. It's a procedure which happens after 10-12 days. That happened on Friday or maybe Thursday night. And some of the observations are regarding laboratory records that the company has kept, regarding the guidance from the R&D expenditure. And these historically have created some problems earlier, or they are some problems which take time to rectify, and that's why probably the market got concerned as to when it will happen, how it will happen. Some brokerages which have given their reaction. So Motilal says observation shows a risk of warning letter or an import alert. HSBC says see potential of escalation of FDA issues. Of course, it will be a stock that can be in focus today as well. Harrier, Divi's Lab, with such news flow coming in, just stay away.
Obviously, I think there's a very clear trend that is coming from the United States. US is flexing its muscles. We have seen that in the case of Deutsche Bank. We have seen that in the case of Indian pharma companies. I think the US government is surely flexing its muscles, and this is only going to get probably a little more acute as we go ahead. Having said that, I think there are some concerns on the Indian side in terms of a laboratory, in terms of sanitation, in terms of manufacturing facilities. What I understand is that a lot of Indian pharma companies are way behind global standards, and I think that is probably what is leading to a series of Form 483 objections that we are getting. As far as Divi's is concerned, I take your point. I think with this kind of a violent correction in one day, the stock is not going to make a V-shaped recovery. So I would believe that the stock is in for some more trouble. Probably more institutions will get out. It could find a bottom, but I think that could be much lower than what we are seeing right now.
Right. To tell bottom, one says that once fundamental analyst cannot talk about the bottom, you talk about technicals, what level, it can go and settle. So, Ruchit, you could just tell us about the levels on Divi's to watch out for. Of course, it's in a new chart territory after really a long time.
Yes, definitely, Pankaj. As you said, fairly after a long time, not only the prices, even the momentum readings have breached their crucial support. Now, if we observe the RSI, then since February 2011, now I'm talking a bit of longer term charts, since February 2011, when the stock started moving higher from 350, 400 levels onwards, on every correction, 35 to 40 RSI range had acted as a very good support during this uptrend. Now, probably after Friday's move, the RSI has also breached those crucial long-term support, which clearly indicates that going ahead, the stock should continue this corrective move. Now, on the longer-term charts, major support for the stock is seen around 772, and below that even 700 levels. So, I think anywhere around current levels, I don't think the stock would find a very good bottom, but rather either around 772, and if that gets breached, then maybe the stock would further correct up to 700 levels. That is where I think the stock could then either consolidate or again give a pullback move from.
Right. Another stock from the large cap space that will be in focus is ONGC. Of course, one would say that the deal that they have done was on an expected line. So what they have done on Friday night is that they have taken a board approval to go ahead and buy 80% stake into GSPC's KG block. Now, GSPC is an unlisted company. Stake bought for around $1 billion and 200 million additional for some supplementary stake that they have bought. So it's about 1.2 billion in total that they are paying. Acquisition price is lower than the amount of investment that was done by GSPC, and that's why probably one would say that they have bought it at a fair valuation. A couple of views coming in on ONGC. Firstly, it was fully expected that this is going to happen, and second, the price that they have paid is particularly not very, very high, and that's why the street is not much worried about. And you can see the reaction. This is the pre-open price. It's just about 0.5% here and there. The street broadly expected this development to happen.
All right, there are a few other stocks that we will be watching out as well on news developments. Barmelori is going ex-bonus in the ratio is 3:1. We have JK Tyre, its board is going to meet on December 28 to take a decision on some fundraising. Camlin Fine is going to acquire 51% stake in a Chinese firm. There's an acquisition coming in from Camlin, and Apar Industries is looking for a buyback of the equity shares. We have Saskin Communications that has fixed a buyback price of 410 rupees a share for 16.5% stake that it's looking to buy back. Then we've got some other stocks to watch. Yes Bank has raised about 3,000 crore rupees from bonds. IDFC Bank has launched Aadhaar-linked cashless merchant solutions. So that's a stock to watch. For Engineers India, it has approved an increase in its share capital to 400 crore rupees from 300 crore rupees, and the bonus issue by way of is by capitalization of reserves. We have Bajaj Hindustan, which is saying that it expects the cogen plant sale to be completed by March. They had made an announcement of having off their cogen plant, and they are expecting this to be done by March.
Right, Imtiaz Qureshi is also now joining us. Imtiaz, just 2 minutes for markets to open. Can you just tell us your calls for the day?
Very good morning, Pankaj. No doubt we are going to have a very much negative and downside opening, but maybe sooner or later in the second half we can see some sort of a recovery coming in, and the stock specific activity will definitely continue. Today, all three picks would be buy side only. One large cap and two mid cap side. What I'm going to give right now. Cipla would be the buy right now with a stop loss of 552 for the target of 615. Last session we have seen maybe around the closing we have seen a very good spike coming in, and I think so. This momentum would be somewhere in the negative positive, but definitely in the coming days we'll see has a target. Second would be from NBFC, Bajaj Finance, looking very much oversold zone, and from the oversold zone we are likely to see some bounce back. Last session we have seen some dead cut bounce happening, and right now I think so there should be a follow-up of buying. 760 would be the stop loss, and finally the target would be 932. And the last would be from the mid cap, APL Apollo, which is a very good one of the fundamental stock company, and from last couple of trading sessions what I had seen that 815, 826, 866 some support has been formed, and right now the stock is on the edge of giving a breakout of higher side. So 826 would be the stop loss, on the higher side expecting 1040 as a target.
Right, just about 30 seconds remaining for markets to open. So, of course, we focused about DV's Lab. That will be in focus. ONGC is a stock from the large cap space. That will be in news. Cipla reacted in the last 10 minutes to approval that they got on Friday in closing hours. So, that's also a stock which can react this morning, or maybe it can give a sort of a rational move this morning. Apart from that, of course, we have the entire banking NBFC space which has been in focus, especially the microfinance companies and the sort of sell-off that we've seen. Expecting the market open to happen anytime soon. Markets continue to look nervous. Don't expect any major buying, but at the same time, if there is a reversal, it could lead to short covering rally as well. I think we should get the prices anytime soon now. Just expecting the markets to open. I think we have the first prices with us. So Hindalco is down about 1% or so. ICICI Bank blinking into red and green. ONGC maybe on the back of that acquisition is down about 2 rupees. Idea Cellular is into the red as well. Axis Bank is down. BHEL is flat, and now it's going into the red. Bank of Baroda is down about 0.6. Tata Steel is down about 0.5%. Cipla 578. Remember, it moved up quite sharply in the last 10-15 minutes trading session on Friday. NTPC down 0.25%. ITC absolutely flat. Sun Pharma 621 was among the top gainers on Friday. Reliance 1056. Tata Power about 74.75. Markets are down 30 points, a full 30 points, and that's exactly what SGX was indicating. So it doesn't really come in as a very big surprise that this has happened. Yes Bank is down about 1% or so. Lupin about 1439. Z Entertainment down close to 440, and TCS down about 7 rupees or so. Adani Ports is down about 1%. Infosys is flat with a very marginal positive bias. Tech Mahindra is down about 3 to 4 rupees. DV's Lab is down another 3.5%. So we'll just pull that name up. It's a name which is gaining a lot of volumes as well. Right now it's down about 4%. It's at the day's lowest point. So not looking that good for DV's. It was down about 20% on Friday, and is now down about 4% right now. There seems to be a lot of selling pressure onto this name. Would not be surprised if it goes down further, or if it continues to see selling pressure. Gujarat State Petronet, 86,000 shares traded, is up around 3.5-4%. So that's another name which is into news now. Gujarat Pipavav is down 2.5%. DLF is down about 1.5%. These are names that were doing well, especially names like DLF. They were quite resilient, but today it seems as if there is some selling pressure over there as well. Cipla is now down about 7 to 8 odd rupees, so that's also a name which is looking in down. Pharma stocks actually went up earlier, or just started on the flattish note, but now you're starting to see a lot of selling pressure. So something like a Aurobindo Pharma is now at the day's low. It's down about 1.5%. Sun Pharma has gone into the red slightly. Balmauri, of course, is reacting to the adjustment to the bonus, but this 10% is after adjusting for that. So it's about 8% sort of a decline. 239. Adani Ports is down 1.8%, and overall, you just get a sense that there seems to be more selling pressure. Nifty is now at the day's low, 7,947, and 7,944 was the first level that we told you to watch for. So it's exactly at the support right now.
Well, on volumes, the volumes are quite thin today, but we are seeing a little bit of profit taking. Divi's was one that Pankaj mentioned. Swan Energy is down 5.5%. Unitech is down 2.5%. Some of the metal companies are seeing quite a meltdown. Vedanta, Hindalco seeing cuts of 2%. In fact, they've been on a losing spree and have seen quite a tumble actually. Axis Bank looking weak. Some of the sugar stocks like Sri Renuka Sugar is down 1.5%. State-run banks, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, Canada Bank, all of them seeing cuts of 1% to 1.5%. So it is weak for a number of stocks and on higher volumes. On the gaining side, Gujarat State Petronet, that one is higher by nearly 4%. It does get impacted by ONGC deal. So at this point in time, it's trading with gains of 3%. Some people see this as ONGC coming to the rescue of GSPC. So, this stock is up 4%. We're seeing electro steels also higher by 3%. Amongst the broader market names, we are seeing a reasonable amount of profit taking some of the Gujarat-based ports. So, Gujarat Pipavav Port down 2%. We got Adani Ports down 2%. Jubilant Foodworks has steadily fallen and is now sub even 800 rupees a share and is seeing a cut today. Power Finance Corporation is another one that has come under pressure last week and is also trading weak. So there is weakness being seen in a number of stocks in the broader markets.
Right, and that is the sense that has been there for the last 4-5 days or so. SV, what do you do with something like a DV's lab? Just stay away?
Absolutely stay away. While generally I think Indian pharma companies have to pull up their stock, I would not tend to compare a Deutsche Bank versus with respect to, I slightly beg to differ with Harrier with respect to what's happening in the pharma space. I think these are totally two different stories. That's got to do with a post-financial crisis and so on and so forth. Pharma is a different ballgame because whatever Trump has said so far, his attack has been more on the IT companies and jobs getting exported. I don't think pharma is, at least for now, seems to be in his kind of range. And let's face it, as I've always maintained, in the long run, Indian pharma is a great story because with aging population in US and Europe. But the important thing is they need to do the hard yards. You can't cut corners when you're exporting and clearly US FDA has become a lot more strict and it's also a reputation issue. I think as an association also, I guess a little bit of, not so much lobbying as much as engaging with FDA, understanding what FDA feels is at a sector level, are there any trends coming and so on. I think that's something I'm sure the pharma, the association would also do. But clearly, I agree that, keep a distance. And today, I would not read too much into the markets, Pankaj, because the volumes are hardly there, barring a Divi's and GSPL, which is on news. Divi because of being wrapped on the knuckles by FDA and GSPL because they've been, in some sense, bailed out by ONGC. Rest of it, because FIs are not there and year-end. You don't really see much volumes going to happen whole of this week. But yes, general trend is bearish. On that there is, not overly bearish, but clearly a bearish trend.
Right, DV's right now is down 6%, and you put a context to it that it was down around 22% earlier, so it's down about 30-odd%. As we just as you said that you would want to avoid this name, just putting the plant into context, more than 50% of their sales come from the plant that we are talking about. That's why such a sharp reaction. It's a very important plant, and any problems and numbers could change quite meaningfully.
Yeah, and if an Indian brokerage house like Motilal Oswal has already put out their observation, Harrier has given his observation on this channel, and once those kind of caveat emptor comes in, people are going to say, hold on, as it is, markets are down, it's a holiday season, why should I necessarily be fishing in troubled waters. That will be the general approach which institutional investors would be taking as far as this stock is concerned.
Right. Ruchit, what do you do with something like a Bharat Financial? Every day it's going down. Even today it's down about 1.5–2%.
Bangan, so if you observe in the last, I think 3 or 4 weeks itself, this stock clearly has been forming this low top, low bottom formation. And not only the formation of the price structure, but also volumes on every correction have been increasing. So definitely, although even if you see the previous up move, then the number of days it took to go up vis-a-vis the number of days it is taking to go down, and definitely the downside move seems to be more in the control. So one should not do any kind of bottom fishing over here. Let the stock correct till it wants to go. On the lower side, 455, 460 range is the next support. So I think it may correct up to those levels also. So let the price itself show some reversal. Then only I think one should do any kind of bottom fishing in such stocks.
Right. Ruchit, as you said that, one should avoid bottom fishing in such stock. What is your view on the market with Nifty just going down for the last 7–8 days? Can you just tell us at what level do you think this will stop? Or as of now, again, for the markets also, you would just wait for, this sort of selling to get over before you give any levels?
Yeah, so Pankaj, on Nifty front, always, we generally, technically what we do that when you see the markets are correcting, you always compare this correction with the previous correction. So previously when the market had corrected during the month of November, we had seen a very sharp correction from 8550 levels to 7917. Now if we observe the RSI smoothen indicator, which usually shows the momentum with which the markets are going down or up, and the RSI smoothen had hit a low of around 9.17 when the markets in the November had made a low of 7917. Right now, Nifty is quite close to that November low, but RSI, which was 9 during the previous occasion, it's now trading around 25 level. So you can see the difference in the momentum, and the momentum during this corrective move is not very sharp. So we believe that the markets for once would breach this support of 7911, which was formed, which was the low formed during the month of November, and it would head lower towards 7820, 7825 range. But what would happen over there? The Nifty would make a new low over there, but RSI would make a higher low. So this would then result into a formation of a positive divergence. And I think around 78.20, 78.25, the markets would take a very strong support and again give a bounce back or even resume the previous uptrend. So from current levels, we are not very bearish on the markets, but 7820 is what we can see. And assuming that there would be a positive divergence formation, this last leg of correction, rather one should now look for going delivery based buying rather than looking for shorting opportunities in this 100-150 points kind of fall.
Right. Imtiaz, we've got the fundamental view from SV and TS. Can you just tell us on the FNO side, how would you look at DV's lab? It's now down almost about 10%. It hit a lower circuit and now it's just opened, so it's slightly recovering from there.
No doubt, Pankaj, what I can see from here that almost a few days back, I'm talking about starting of the month in the December, the trend went negative for the Davis Lab, and from there we can see the follow-up of selling. Right now the question is that where the stocks will get stopped. I think so 826 was the last level for the stocks. Right now we can see the hampering happening in maybe you can say forcefully the unwinding of positions and forcefully the selling of portfolios happening, and since there's a lack of interest in the buying side, the sellings are happening at their own choice and they are hitting the stocks. No doubt, I think so not much more downside I can expect from this level, because as I said that all the lower side of the retracement has been almost achieved, and I think so if risk would be taken, then definitely for a 4 to 5% of return can be taken this Davis Lab for the technical bounce back, not for the entire change of the story, but just for the technical bounce back can play a story on this. Like maybe somewhere around 750 or 760 would be the stock. On the higher side, I can expect the stocks can come back above 900.
Right. Mr. Harihar, have you had a look at Ultratech? Ultratech has fallen quite a bit. and it's trading near previous supports. And if the expectation is that in the budget the government is going to come out with a push for infrastructure, cement companies should benefit not only from the revival in consumer demand, but infrastructure push is going to benefit the cement companies. Do you think now could be a time to look at some of these cement stocks like UltraTech, or would you wait for a further correction?
Anisha, a couple of points. I think primarily, let me tell you that within the cement space, we've always believed that UltraTech has the best value in terms of from a long-term perspective. Having said that, if you look at cement as an industry, it has typically done well when the pricing power has been in the hands of the producer, not in the hands of the consumer, and that is not the case any longer. Look at an ACC. I think it's come down from about 1700 to 1200. Look at UltraTech. So what is happening is that the pricing power, which had temporarily appeared to come into the hands of the producer, has once again gone back into the hands of the consumer. And now with the kind of a crunch we are seeing because of demonetization, I think things could actually get worse from here. So we like UltraTech as a story within the cement space, but cement overall, we are not too sure whether it's a sector you should be buying at this point of time.
All right, not too sure about cement as a sector, but do like UltraTech. Ruchit, have you had a look at Pidilite? This stock is also trading near its November lows. And this is also one that is related to consumption story, and the retail part was always doing better. Now, what do you do with stocks like these? Do you think Pidilite had seen a strong run up this year? Do you think now it's due for correction even more from here on, or it could go back to its winning ways?
Nisha, so long-term trend of the stock definitely remains positive still now, because even you forget about the daily charts. If you see the weekly or the monthly charts, then the high top, high bottom structure is still continuing, and even the other indicators such as momentum indicators are still indicating that the broader trend for the stock has still not turned negative. So what you do generally when you know that the longer-term trend for the stock is positive, any such corrections usually become a buying opportunity, but not from a very short-term perspective. But if anyone wants to take a delivery, and one needs to have at least 3 to 4 months of time frame for that. So the downside on this stock seems to be very limited, around 562, 564. There is a very strong support coming in for this stock. So I believe around 560 to 564, one should definitely create long positions in Pidilite. You can keep a stop loss below 525, 526. And on the higher side, the stock again should move higher up to 650 to 680 odd levels. But one needs to have at least 3 to 4 months of perspective and not a very short-term trading.
All right, the markets are steadily slipping. 79.30 is where we're trading now on the Nifty, and 7916 is a crucial level we'll be watching out for. The most recent lows in November were seen around there. Mr. Prasad, have you had a look at Jubilant? Over the weekend, I was very brave to walk into a mall. I went on Friday, I went on Sunday. You don't have space to step in, no place to park. People are teeming, and they're flooding into eateries. Eateries have 1 hour long wait times, but this stock is just headed one side. Yes, it doesn't have it is not like a specialty restaurants. It's a more of a home delivery one. But if people are willing to spend when they go out in a mall, perhaps they should be willing to spend when they take a delivery as well. Why do you think the stock is going as low as it has, and would you write it off, or do you think it could make a comeback?
No, I think it's some time. While your analysis in some sense is right, because I also go to the malls on weekend to get a feel of the pulse of the market. But I think the audience the people that go to the mall are people, especially in today's day and age, I think use more of plastic. While a Jubilant, which is more focused on home delivery, and many of these guys, because when we order also, many of them don't have functioning, machines. We always tell them get the card machine, and many of them don't have it. And change for 2,000 and all these kind of problems come in. So that's the challenge which a name like Jubilant will have. So I would still wait and watch. And just a quick aside, among all the names you mentioned, I like Pidilite as well. I think Pidilite is an excellent quality name. I think Pidilite is one stock I would also definitely look at very, very closely. Cement, I tend to agree with what Harrier has mentioned. I will wait for December results, Anisha, frankly. Across sectors, I think December results will clearly show what has been the impact of demonetization. Once those numbers come in, I expect, frankly, another round of correction to happen in the markets. I'm not a chartist, so while I respect Ruchit a lot, he does some very good analysis, but generally, I expect December results to be perhaps worse than what the market is fearing right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, the markets have slipped even below 79.16. This was the lowest level that we had seen in November. The lows that we saw post the demonetization announcement and even the US election. So, Pankaj, even though the volumes are low and what Ruchit has said about there not being a lot of force, the RSI is not so badly off, but newer lows on a daily basis. What next then? Maybe 78.20 will come sooner than later.
Right, Anisha, and why this level is particularly important is because the Brexit day, 24th of June, that's when we had the Brexit announcement, or the markets reacted to the Brexit announcement, and the low that time was 7,927. That's from where essentially the market started to turn up, and now we are at that particular level. So we are just below that level, but of course these are intraday swings and we still have a full day to go. So if we recover, if we not, it's something to watch out for. Ruchit, how important would the Brexit day low become? 7,927, we are just about 10-15 points away from that. Say if we close below that throughout the day today, how would it change the charts?
Well, Pankaj, after that Brexit day low, if you observe that even during the November we had the indexes had hit that low and had raised low around 7917. So entire range of 7917 to 7927 is a very crucial support for the markets. But the momentum, then the way the market breadth is not showing any kind of positiveness, I think that this low definitely would be breached for once. And as we said, we would form a positive divergence only if this low is breached. Until this low is breached, there would be no positive divergence formation with the Nifty in compared to RSI. So although it is very important, but I think the significance of this is not that impactful as of now. So the probability is high that this low would be breached and we would head lower towards 7820, 7825, somewhere around those levels where we would form another new low.
Right. Imtiaz, what will be your view if markets close below 7,920?
Pankaj, I think so. Last week we had a word on the same at the market closing bell. We had a word, and I said also till expiry, I don't think so. There could be any possibility of market going ahead on a higher side. Would be drifting down only, and my projection target would be somewhere around 78, 7700 would be the level. Now, what I can do at this, if I'm a trader and if I'm a trader, then I would definitely keep my buys somewhere around 7850, and every 30 point downs, I'll keep my Nifty buy only, because as I said, this is the third leg of the downside, and when the fourth leg will open, which will definitely take the Nifty more above 8300. So this is my projection. So maybe around 7850 I start buying on the Nifty.
All right, that's you coming in from India. So we're barely holding on to 7,900 on Monday morning. Thank you, gentlemen, for speaking with us at NDTV Profit, giving us your views on markets and stocks that we've discussed. Ruchit, as you go, please give us your disclosures.
I don't personally hold any of the stocks that we have recommended, but all the recommendations that we have given, we have also given the similar view to our clients.
Right. Imtiaz, your disclosures?
Thank you very much. Personally, I'm not holding any of the position which we had discussed today.
Mr. Harihar, your disclosures?
Well, I have a small holding in Tata Motors, but we have recommended shorts on almost all the banking stocks to our clients.
Right. And Mr. Prasad, your disclosures?
No, today no disclosures. The only disclosure is a very happy new year to you and to Pankaj, everybody at NDTV and all your viewers. And look forward to a much better 2017.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on NDTV Profit. And here's wishing all of you a very happy new year.